Have you been to see Pamela Mitchell yet? Have you spoken to her yet? The sun is almost about to set, even though it's raining here where I am. I don't know where you are. But it's raining here. It's been cloudy for most of the day. Most of the afternoon, rather. But the sun still sets. So I'm real curious as to how long you're going to go on and not say anything, because eventually you are going to speak. You're going to be, there's no, it's beyond inevitability that you're going to speak now. You have to speak. But, I'm just real curious if you're going to go on your own before you allow God to lift his hand off of you. Because once he takes his hand off of you, it's pretty much a wrap. And that's not to say that, God is this boogeyman, oh, he's going to get you. Not that type of thing. God, you heard me say it in previous videos. God, he extends grace towards all of us. But there's a time when the grace runs out because we're, ignoring him, being disobedient and being arrogant, that type of thing. And it comes a point in time where the grace, God says, okay, I've extended it, and you're doing your own thing. His will is still going to be done. But you bring a consequence upon yourself. God isn't punishing you. You're punishing yourself. You're doing it to yourself. That's why he extends us grace, so he's saving us from ourselves. But I'm just real curious if you're just going to take the opportunity to go before you force him to remove his hand off of you. And you wonder why, I'm pushing at you so much to talk to Pamela Mitchell, give her the information that, she needs because you have it. I push you so much to talk to her because I don't want her to experience the side of it that I'm on, and so many other mothers. My son that I mentioned to you before that I was looking for, and people had information, they didn't give it to me until after the fact. He's gone. He is deceased. My son is deceased. And it's been 10 years now. And I went through a 10-year stretch of, getting the case started. Whole bunch of legal goofball stuff. I'm not going to go into that, but it took 10 years to get that trial started. And just last year we had trial, 9 years, almost 10 years, correct myself. We just had that trial last year in July. Lasted all 2.5 days. And the guy who murdered my son was sentenced in November. So that's why I'm, putting such a press on you, just to go ahead and tell her what she needs to know. Because if people had told me what I needed to know, where my son was, strong possibility, he could still be here. And you having that information, you holding him up. You holding the Mitchells and the Longmires up. You don't know what state Lee Jr. is in, unless you do know. And that's go even further slowing you up. But just think about it, how much worse is it going to be, the longer you keep quiet, keep silent, You watching me with these lives, going through the family's posts, seeing what they posting, reading their posts, seeing if somebody catching up on you, see if somebody might even have an idea of who you are. I'm pretty sure they already do. It don't take much for folks to piece stuff together. Even when the information was revealed, after the fact, after my son was gone, and people's conscience was really getting them. People coming out giving information. One person in particular, after my son was gone, and I was talking to someone, and I said, why didn't you tell me this beforehand? We could have got him from out the situation he was in. And that person told me, I don't know. And he was getting ready to say, I wish. Right when he got the I told him, I said, don't say that. It's going to turn the whole situation bad out here if you say that. Because the one thing I didn't want him to say is, I wish I had. No, it's all that wishing. My son was gone. And he had information that he could have contacted me and my family with. Muskegon not big at all. And everybody know somebody. So people's making excuses. We didn't know where you were. We didn't know where you live. But lie. Even if they did know where I lived, all they had to do was ask somebody. You know where Christy Thompson stay? There's 2 Christy Thompsons in Muskegon Heights. One on the west, one on the east. I'm the one on the east. And if you want to know how somebody or where somebody is or which person you're talking about, you ask them what school they go to, what school she went to, what year she graduated, that type of stuff. Or brother, sister, people throw something out like that. It don't take much to find somebody. So, them folks are lying. And them people, they can't even walk past me now. If they see me somewhere in passing, I done had some of them try to speak. Couldn't figure why they think it's okay. I guess they figured time done went by. And it's all right now. No, it'll never be all right. There'll be some people see me, and they'll turn and go the other way. Because they know they wronged me. They know they should have gave that information and they had it. So that's why, that's why I'm pushing at you. Go ahead and tell Pamela what you need to know. So that she don't have to come on this side where I'm at. Her son is gone. Because all of us, we don't know what state Lee Jr. is in. A lot of people trying to presume him as deceased, because, a lot of folks, they want to think and believe the worst anyway. A lot of people just love being a bearer of bad news. They want to say it. And these bodies that's been being found here, one out on the lake, a house downtown, had something else over here, or a woman and her daughter in Kalamazoo passed away in the car. A lot of folks was hoping, oh, that's him. They want to be the bearer of bad news. Because it's just every day to them. It's not their family. It's not their son. So, they don't care. But you, I don't know. Do you care? Are you basically caring about yourself? Or are you somewhere trying to get your affairs together before you come out and speak? Is that what you're doing? I guess that would make sense too, especially if you further involved than any of us know. And you would need a lawyer. Okay, I can understand that. You're getting your affairs together, making sure, stuff is in place. Whatever is going on with you, yep, I can get that. But it's been 26 days now. It don't take that long. It don't take that long. Unless you need to raise money or something like that, I can get that too. But even is still in that, if this is what you're doing, how is your attorney advising you? Or do you have a criminal attorney? Because if you have a criminal attorney, then yeah, that means, you know what you know and whatever part you took in. I mean, because now you like hindering an investigation now. And it could get so bad for you that you could be considered an accessory because you withholding information. You know, the prosecutor, he don't too much discriminate when it comes to throwing the book at folks. You know, DJ Hilson, he got a little reputation down there. You know, once he got you, he got you. He gonna hem you up pretty good. He really fell along the lines of Tony Tagg. Back in my day, coming up, you know, Tony Tagg, he was pretty rough about it too. You know, once he got you hemmed up, that's it. And he was any charge he could think of, make up, it was coming at you. So I can understand if you're doing that, if you're trying to get your affairs together. You know, but even still, part of getting your affairs together is talking to Pamela Mitchell. You know, so, even though I know at some point you're going to have to do it, I'm still going to continue to encourage you to, speak, go before go on your own. Yes, you're going to speak. It ain't no stopping that. Your mouth is coming open. You're going to give her the information she needs. But I would encourage you to go before you're forced to go. You don't know how ugly that'll look. I mean, you don't know how God allows things to unfold. I shared with you before, previous video. And, there was a time that I wasn't listening to God. I was disobeying. He was telling me to get stuff together, to move on certain stuff. And boy, man, talking about a sister that wasn't listening. I was totally disobedient. And yeah, the grace came off of me. And my consequences hit. But even still in that, he was merciful because I wasn't exposed to outsiders. It was just a little small group. And even with that, we still all found forgiveness within each other. And the matter was settled, excuse me. But if I had done my part as the Lord was leading me, it wouldn't even got that far. So, those people that should have gave me information, that had information, that should have gave me information in regards to my son. Some of them don't sleep too good at night. And there's one person who, when my son got hurt, his part of things played on him so bad that he took his own life. And I don't want that for you. The withholding of evidence, like I shared with you in the previous video, what you can imagine how bad it could be, it can be 10 times worse than that. Because I had no clue that young man's demons was antagonizing him like that. His actions of not, revealing some things was just toiling his spirit like that. I didn't know it. And he took his own life. And I didn't know that he had taken his own life until after the fact. That's a heavy weight. The information that you have that could relieve a family of strain, that could cause a mother's tears to dry, bring her relief. You got that type of information and you're not letting it go. You're bringing some serious suffrage on yourself. And yeah, what you sowing, you'll reap. That scripture, that's a real thing. Whether it's a good or a bad thing. Folks will say, God punishing me, God doing this to me, God doing that to me. Nah, you doing it to yourself. God ain't doing none of that. You doing that all to yourself. So, and it's 7:58 now, and I believe the sun's supposed to set today 8:03. Even though it's cloudy, I mean, you could pick up the phone or however you're supposed to get in contact with her. I mean, you got like what? Like over 5 minutes to do that. Just a little under. Time is leaving you. It's getting away from you. You ever wonder what Pamela Mitchell was doing through the day, or you just try to, put that out your mind? You ever wonder what his father's going through? His aunties, his uncles. From my understanding, he has children. You don't think his children asking or looking around for their daddy? You don't kind of think or wonder the explanation being given to them? Or somebody's making up, or, I don't know how old his children are. But even if they're old enough to understand, I don't know. Well, those kids, they looking for their dad. You ever think about that? You ever look for your dad? You ever wonder where your dad was at when you was a kid? You wonder where he was at? Did you ever have to go through that? Did your mom ever have to go through looking for one of her children? Or wondering where they were? I encourage you not to let your arrogance turn your heart cold to where you go numb and, you just stop not feeling. Because you got family too. And I know your family will want you to do the right thing to ease the suffering off someone else's family. Because, what if it was your family? I'm pretty sure your family would be like, man, we would want to know where you were if somebody could tell us. If you came out missing, yes, somebody would want us. We would want somebody to come tell us where you were. We would want someone to give us the information. So don't bring more suffering on yourself. Don't bring more suffering on your family, because stuff, it goes around. And you don't know how it's going to come back. Listening to the rain is so peaceful. It's quiet. I wonder if Pamela is able to sit and just listen to the rain and just be quiet. It's probably chaotic for her. As I can recall times when I was looking for my son and it would be quiet. On the inside, I was raging. Wasn't nothing quiet about it. So, go on your own before you're forced. Contact Pamela before you're forced. Because I know for certain you are supposed to speak to their mother directly. I'm for certain about that. And no, if you didn't catch it on the other video, no, I don't claim to be no prophet. I'm not no person who does readings. I'm not no soothsayer or none of that stuff. None of that. You know, my mother, who's been down this path. But I would like for Pamela Mitchell to be able to veer off this path. I don't want her to come all the way down the path that I had to go. I would like her to veer off and be reunited with her son. You know, not for her to get a call like I did. And he was located. Knew where he was, but my call was he's been shot. But you can alleviate her from that. So if you wonder how I know you're the one who's supposed to go speak to her, because you are. Whomever you are. You have all that information. And you're supposed to give it to her directly. But you're not doing it. Just as the Lord places things on my heart and speaks to me, he does the same for you and has been doing it. But you've been ignoring him. You know, he speaks to Pamela as well, places things on her heart. His father, the rest of the family. None of us are so special to where we're the only one that God lays something on our heart, or where he speaks to us and shows us things. And how do you know that they don't know exactly who you are already? You know, God does cause us to dream. And he shows us things through our dreams as well. How do you know the Lord hasn't shown one of those family members already who you are? How do you know that the Lord hasn't shown Pamela who you are? That's why I'm urging you so much. You know, just go on your own now. Don't be forced to go. You're already going to be forced to speak. But don't be forced to have to go. You already know you're supposed to go. Well, hopefully, no, we don't have to speak again tomorrow. I'm going to get ready and lay down. And I say lay down because, you know, I don't sleep. 2 hours is probably the most I sleep. And that's 2 hours is the most I've ever slept since my son was taken away from me. That's another thing that I don't want Pamela Mitchell to have to experience. Lack of sleep. So that's why I make myself lay down. When I go to sleep or not, I make sure I rest my body. Because even with all that stress and strain and that hurt, you know, child being gone, some other things have gone on with my health. Another reason I don't want Pamela Mitchell to come on this side. That's why I keep urging you just to tell her what she needs to know. So she don't have to experience none of this. And with you causing her, because you're part of it now. With you causing her to have to wait for information. And whatever hindrance and suffrage you're putting on her is going to come back on you too. You know, what you sow is what you reap. And who knows how that's going to come back on you. You know, you don't know what this is doing to her health. I don't know. I'm not in contact with her. But I'm pretty sure that sleep is probably little to none. Running on fumes. Because any and every moment, she's expecting that phone to ring with information about him. You know, where he is, you know. Or if it's him calling himself. You don't know what's going on with him. You don't know his state. You don't know if somebody's holding him hostage, captive, abusing him, mistreating him. You don't know what somebody's doing. If somebody's drugged him, he's out of his mind. He doesn't know where he is. Have no clue. But the information you have, very beneficial to her. Well, it's what is that? It's 8:08 now. The sun has officially set. Now, I'm not saying that once the sun go down, that's it. You still can't reach out to her. But I know once the sun sets, there's a whole different thing spiritually taking place. So, if you're having contact her, you go ahead and contact her. I'm pretty sure she don't mind what time, day or night it is. But if you haven't done it and the sun has set and you haven't done it, I know that's not good for you. But I would still encourage you, even after the sun has set, still reach out. Do what you know you're supposed to do.